everyone, and welcome back to another video. So I haven't done a video like this just because I don't necessarily like to get rid of books. Usually when I buy the books, I plan to read them. Now I have read some of these, but the other ones, but there is a good amount that I haven't read. And to be quite honest, I had to be honest with myself and be like, I'm never going to read these. And I would rather unhaul them and let somebody else who is more interested in reading the book get the book and read it. So, without further ado, let's get started with the Unhaul. Okay, first we're going to talk about the books that I have read. So this series is called the Hades and Persephone series by Scarlett St. Clair, and it is a touch of darkness. I have read the first three. I didn't read the fourth, and to be honest with myself, I'm not going to read the fourth one. These are good, and I don't remember what rating I got, but I'm never gonna read them again. And to be quite honest, like, there wasn't enough plot for me. Like, it's a romance. It's a fantasy romance, but it's like Greek mythology centered in like more of a modern world. And I liked the concept of it, but there wasn't enough plot. And I think, and the plot's gotten better as the books have gone on, but I'm still just not gripped by it. And to be quite honest, I think the romance happened way too fast. Way too fast. So I just think somebody else would prefer to read these and will enjoy them more on their shelves than me having them on mine. So I am unhauling the series A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. The next series I am unhauling, and I've read 2 out of the 3 of the books, and that is The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. I enjoyed the first one. I really enjoyed the first one. I thought it was super creative and really interesting, and the plot was really good. And I greatly enjoyed this book. But then we got to the second one. And the second one was boring. I don't know why it was so boring, and I struggled so much to get through it. And I just don't see myself reading the third one. And to be quite honest, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on the third one. That yes, the second one is the weakest, but the third one is not that much above the second one. And I guess, spoiler, there's a huge time skip between the second book and the third book, and you don't even realize it until like midway through the third book, from what I have heard from other booktubers. So I'm just like, I just don't think I'll read it. I mean, and I've had it on my shelf for I think a couple years. So I just figured this one would be better off on somebody else's shelf who would enjoy it more than me, and I don't plan to read it again or finish the series. So that is why I am unhauling The Bone Shard Daughter. The next book I'm unhauling, and literally it is just because I have 2 copies of it, and that is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. I loved this book. It was absolutely fantastic, but the second book in this series that just came out had sprayed edges, and so I decided to upgrade to this one with the matching sprayed edges as well. So that came in. That is the only reason why I'm unhauling this one, just because I already have another version on my shelf. The next book I am unhauling is Inkblood, Sister Scribe. I liked it. I thought it was interesting, but there was just something in it that I really didn't care for, and I was able to get through it because it really wasn't like too terrible, but at the same time, I don't think I'll read it again. And I think somebody else will enjoy it. But yes, that's why I'm getting rid of Inkblood, Sister Scribe. Then the last series that I have read and plan to unhaul is Chaos and Flame by Tessa Gratton and Justina Ireland. And the second book is Blood and Fury. To be quite honest, I don't even remember what happened in this series. That's how boring it was to me. I got through it. I read it. But the romance was not gripping. I just don't remember anything of the plot. So, to me, I just don't want something that I can't remember that I read on my shelf, and I don't plan to read again because I didn't really enjoy it. So I think somebody else will be able to enjoy this more than me. Now, moving into some books that I have on my shelf that I have not read and do not plan to read. Most of these, well, really, I think, yeah, most of these I've gotten from Book of the Month, and partly because I needed to use my credit. I don't subscribe anymore to Book of the Month. I've decided to add another subscription to Broken Binding because I'm more fantasy, and not that Book of the Month doesn't have fantasy books, but the fantasy that they do have, it's very slim to none, and I would rather spend my money on a company that there's a subscription for specific fantasy books. So the new subscription I just signed up for at Broken Binding is their fantasy and science fiction subscription. So I'm super excited for that one. So I will be getting 2 books from Broken Binding each month. Well, for the rest of 2025 and I think a little bit into 2026, this subscription I just signed up for is every other month, but then it's going to every month. So for a while I'll get 2 books a month and 1 book a month, and then it'll get to 2 books a month. So I'm super excited for that. Plus, their editions are absolutely beautiful, and I love to have them on my shelf. So, the first book I'm unhauling is The Magician's Daughter. I've heard great things about it. I've heard it's super cute, and there is a familiar. So, I think it would be a great book to read. I just don't think I'm gonna get to it, and it's not a priority for me, so I would rather unhaul it and let somebody else read it that I think would enjoy it more. The next book I'm gonna get rid of is Blackwood's Blue Sky by Ewan Ivey. This is kind of like a little bit of a thriller literary fiction novel, and it takes place in the wilderness of Alaska, and this mom and her daughter that is basically just trying to survive because they moved into a cabin with a man that she really doesn't know a whole lot about. So at first it sounded really intriguing, and trust me, it still does, but I'm really not a big literary fiction reader. I did keep some books on my shelf, but those are more historical fiction, and I like those. So That's why I'm getting rid of this one. The next book I'm getting rid of is Will, and this is Will Smith's autobiography, I believe, and it's with Mark Manson. I just won't get to it. Not that I don't want to read it, but at the same time, I'm also not a big biography person. So it's been sitting on my shelf for several years now. I don't even know when it was published. I can't even remember. 2021. So it's been sitting on my shelf for 4 years and I haven't read it. So if it's been sitting there that long, I'm not going to read it. And I think somebody else would like it more than me. The next book I'm unhauling is The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. This one's super short and I heard it's super cute. And I guess there is this little like game that she needs money to help an orphan and adopt this orphan. And I heard it's super cute, but I've also heard that some people didn't like it. But I just have not had to read it, and I don't know why. I could probably get it done super quick. I mean, it's like way under 300 pages. It's 278 pages. So like, I could probably get it done pretty quick, but I just haven't wanted to read it. The next book I'm getting rid of is Wayward by Amelia Hart. This is kind of like a literary fiction, magical realism kind of thing, because I believe this takes place, or well, it not takes place. It's got 3 different time periods, but I think it's got something to do with like a little bit of witchcraft. But these are all books that have been sitting on my shelf for a while now, and I'm not going to get to them. So, and I'm sorry if I'm being a little vague on like the descriptions, but I also like don't remember what a lot of these are about, and I don't want to have my whole video being a like me reading the synopsis for you. So I'm just showing you the book, telling who the author is and kind of why I want to get rid of it, and a little tidbit about the book. So hopefully that little tidbit will intrigue your interest and you'll be able to look the book up on Goodreads and get the synopsis from there. So the next book I'm unhauling is The Wilder Women by Ruth Emmy Lang. Basically this is a quest to try to find their missing mother. And I believe it's 2 sisters, and one's trying to convince the other that their mom wants to be found and that they need to go try and find her. And I think it said that one of them has like a really, really good memory. But this one is kind of magical realism a little bit. But yeah, that is a little tidbit of The Wilder Women, but I think somebody else will enjoy it way more than I will. So this book is Hester by Lori Licco Albanese. This just, I don't know, it sounds super, super intriguing, but I don't think I'll get to it. This is like a retelling of The Scarlet Letter, kind of ish. So I think for anybody who is a fan of The Scarlet Letter, I think that they will really enjoy this take on it. The next book I am unhauling is John Green, The Anthropocene. I definitely pronounced that incorrectly, but basically it's just a bunch of different essays by John Green. And I like John Green's writing. I've read at least 2 of his books. I have another book of his on my shelf that I really do need to get to, but I have no interest in this. I really thought I did when I read what it was going to be about and the different essays and all that other kind of stuff. Every time I look at it, I just don't want to read it. So I would rather give it to somebody who does. The next book is Darling Girl, and it is a basically a novel of Peter Pan, like a retelling of Peter Pan, but I think this follows Wendy and her children, and Wendy is older. But I've heard it's good, and I loved watching Peter Pan as a child, and the prequel to Peter Pan called Hook with Robin Williams. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. I just don't want to read this one. The next several books that I'm going to show you, these are all thrillers. And I'm not a big thriller reader. I don't know why I'm not, but those movies also don't necessarily like interest me. Like, I don't know, I like a good detective movie, something that is kind of like chilling and a little suspenseful. Like, I don't necessarily like watching those movies, so I don't know why I thought I would enjoy reading those books. So these are all thrillers that I'm unhauling. The first one is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. The next one is The Maid by Nita Prose. Then we have Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. And Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. Now, I know this is a movie, but I just don't want to read it. I don't know. There's something with thrillers, and I don't know why I thought I would want to read a thriller. I'm not a thriller reader. I like fantasy and romance. So I have 3 more books that I'm getting rid of that I got from Book of the Month, and the first one is The Ministry of Time. This is supposed to be a sci-fi book, and I mean, to be quite honest, this doesn't intrigue me at all. Like, I think I prefer more of that sci-fantasy background where, like, they're in space and there's aliens and all that other kind of stuff. But this is kind of like a little bit of a love story too, and it has to deal with going back in time and all that other kind of stuff. And really, I read the synopsis the other day and it just doesn't pique my interest anymore. So that is why I'm unhauling this one. Then the next one is A Short Walk Through a Wide World by Douglas Westerbeck. This one is supposedly a girl who's got some type of disease or condition, and she can't stay in one place, so she's got to travel, and that's what she does. She travels around the world. And it sounds beautiful, but I don't know. I read the synopsis a few days ago, trying to decide if I wanted to keep it or not, and it wasn't something that I was like, yeah, let's keep that, and I'm gonna read it in the next couple months. It's gonna sit on my shelf, and I would rather it not do that and actually have somebody who wants to read it. The last book that I am getting rid of is it's V.E. Schwab's new one, and it is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. This one is about vampires. It takes place in 3 different time periods. I've heard it's pretty gruesome, and trust me, I love vampires. I like, one of my favorite books of all time is Vampire Academy. But there's something that V.E. Schwab did in this book that, to me, I just don't want to read. So I just have decided to unhaul it and to give it to somebody else who is okay to read what is in this book. So it's just, that's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, no, not that this book isn't good. I've heard that it's really, really great. It's got a great plot. It's got great characters. There's something that I, like, part of my morals and values that are in this, and I'm not gonna read it. I have got 3 more books. And actually, like, one of them I was really debating on if I was gonna keep it or not, but I just decided against it because I really don't know if I'm gonna read it. And that is Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. I mean, this book is gorgeous, first off. And it's a fantasy, and it's got a really, really good synopsis. And that's why I picked it up in the first place, to put on my shelf to read. But it's been on my shelf for years. And I haven't got to it. So if I haven't gotten to it now, I would rather have somebody else get to it when they pick it up. Because, you know, books deserve that. Books don't just deserve to sit on your shelf. They deserve to be read and the pages flipped and all that stuff. So I think somebody else will pick this book up and really like it. Then I have The Library of Legends by Janie Chang. This is a magical realism, mythological kind of historical fiction book. And I would normally keep this, but I just have decided not to. And I think somebody else would really like it. The last one that I have decided to get rid of is the book The Help by Catherine Stockett. I have had this book, I think, since college, and I have yet to read it. And I mean, it's a #1 New York Times bestseller. So, and there was a movie made by it and everything. And like, this is a good book from all the reviews, from like, you know, getting a movie, and the movie turned out fantastic and that kind of stuff. But it's been on my shelf for 10 years and I haven't read it. So like, to me, that's just a sign that yes, this book might be absolutely fantastic, and it's got a good meaning and good look on everything and a good theme and whatever else you want to say that this book has. I'm just not going to read it, and I think somebody else would prefer to. Well, there you have it, everybody. Those are all the books that I will be unhauling from my little library. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of these books and kind of what you think about them, or if any of them sounded interested to you and you plan to add them to your shelf. So don't forget, like, subscribe, and be good people.
When you feel it's hopeless, when you